Cancel culture has been canceled. Hate hoaxes are finished. Dropping bombs anymore about us and our names and, oh, you're racist and you're an anti-Semite bigot. Nobody cares. It's over. So the white devil's back, and you brought him back to life. And you best get used to it. Even me, I've had enough. I had enough seeing a woman get picked on for saying a fucking word. Get over it. Yeah, Whitey's been down. Whitey got complacent. Whitey got scared to lose his job. Whitey doesn't like to be called names. But not all Whiteys. Not this one. You call me whatever you want. I don't give a shit. White devil's back. And again, you made them wake up. You don't kick at people when they're down, but you did, and you thought you could do it forever. So that's why we're behind Shiloh Hendricks, because we don't give a shit who she is. Just like you don't give a fuck who Floyd was or anyone else. And this black privilege bullshit is coming to an end too. And you know who's going to end it? The white man. Both scenarios are going to be ended by the white man who allowed it to happen in the first place. That's what's happening. You're witnessing it right now in your face in real time. White people are fucking done. And you better get used to it. And I know some of you are going to be stubborn. That's right. You're going to be, oh, fuck you all crack ass. Bring it on. Bring it on. You're not winning this. No one's winning it but us. We're done, and we're not playing this fucking game anymore. And y'all better straighten yourselves out because the white devil's back.
Peace, family. Welcome to the Grassroots. We're back with another truth bomb to shake the system. Remember, the Grassroots is where we keep it 100, break down the lies, and expose the game. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and join the movement. Today, we're diving into a question that's been simmering for centuries. Why do white people fear black people? And while we're doing that, we're going to unpack the origins of racism and the straight up wickedness of white supremacy. So buckle up, because this one can sting. Let's get to the meat of it. Why this fear? Why does a black man walking down the street with a hoodie make folks clutch their pearls? Why does a black woman speaking her mind get labeled angry or threatening? This ain't just random. This is rooted in history, psychology, and a system that's designed to keep us down. So let's break it down. Let's break it down step by step, fact by fact, and let's get rid of the feelings and get right to it. Let's start with the fear factor, where it comes from. All right, first off, let's talk about this fear. It's not just a Karen freaking out in the park. It's a cultural vibe passed down like a family recipe. According to a study by the American Psychological Association, white Americans often associate black people with danger or criminality even when there's no evidence. Why? Media plays a big role in this. Think about it. Every crime drama that you see, there's a black guy playing a thug. But this goes deeper than just TV. This fear comes from a playbook that started centuries ago. Back in the 1600s, when Europeans were colonizing the Americas, they needed a way to justify slavery. You can't just kidnap millions of Africans, chain them up, and call yourself civilized without some type of mental gymnastics being played. So they created a myth. Black people are savages, inferior, and dangerous. That's the origin of the fear. It was a lie. It was a lie to make the slave trade more palatable. Historian Theodore Allen breaks it down in his book, The Invention of the White Race. He says race was invented to divide poor whites from poor blacks and keep the divide going and to keep the ruling class on top. Before that, in early colonial America, blacks and white laborers were out here rebelling together, like the Bacon's Rebellion in 1676. The elites saw that. They saw their unity and said, nah, we can't have this. So they gave poor whites a little privilege and told them, you are better than they are. And that's when the fear was weaponized. Make whites scared of blacks and keep them loyal to the system. It's a whole playbook, y'all. And let me keep it real. That fear is not just about crime. It's about power. A 2020 study from the University of Chicago found that white Americans often feel threatened by black success, economic, political, and cultural success. When we rise, it shakes their whole identity. That's why they love to call us uppity, when we're just doing our thing. Fear is not just about physical danger. It's about losing control. All right, let's talk about the origins of racism, and it being a global hustle. Now let's zoom out. Racism didn't just pop up in America. It's a global hustle rooted in colonialism and capitalism. The transatlantic slave trade started in the 15th century. It was the biggest forced migration in history. 12.5 million Africans stolen per UNESCO's estimates. To justify that, Europeans leaned on pseudoscience and religion. They said Africans were cursed or biologically inferior. I mean, y'all, they literally made this up. By the 1800s, so-called scientists like Samuel Morton were out here measuring skulls, claiming black people had smaller brains. It was literally garbage science that was debunked even in its time. But it stuck around because it served a purpose. It served the system. It served white supremacy. Racism wasn't just hate. It was a business model. Slavery generated trillions in wealth if adjusted for inflation to today's time. The U.S. made bank off of our ancestors' blood. Check out Ebony and Ivory by Craig Stephen Waldron for the receipts. Even Ivy League schools were funded by slave money. And don't get me started on the church. They were quoting Bible scriptures just to chain us up. They were holding a Bible in their left hand while they whooped our ass with their right hand. Meanwhile, they forgot about the love thy neighbor part in the Bible. I mean, the hypocrisy is incredible. Well, let's go to the wickedness of white supremacy. Let's talk about that. All right, let's talk about the big bad wolf. It's not just about a Klansman in a hood. It's a culture, a system, a way of thinking that says whiteness is gold. Whiteness is the gold standard and everybody else is just less than. And it's wicked because it's sneaky. It's in the laws, it's in the schools, the banks, and even in the air we breathe. Ibram X, in Stamped from the Beginning, says that white supremacy thrives by blaming black people for the problems that it creates. Think about it. They redlined our neighborhoods, starved us of resources, and then called us lazy for the struggle. They locked us up 5 times the rate of whites for the same crimes. Check the Sentencing Project's 2017 report for that information. Then they said we were criminals. I mean, the system is rigged, family. It is. And the wickedness doesn't even stop there. White supremacy gaslights us. It tells us our pain is not real. It says slavery was 200 years ago. Just get over it. But they don't mention how Jim Crow, redlining, and mass incarceration kept the boot on our necks. The wealth gap today, where the average white family has 10 times the wealth of a black family, per Federal Reserve's 2019 data. I mean, that's not an accident. It's the legacy of that same system. And let's not sleep on the cultural side. White supremacy romanticizes its own violence. It makes movies about heroic slave owners and build statues to commemorate Confederate soldiers and generals. And they call it heritage. You know, I mean, meanwhile, they demonize our heroes, Malcolm, Angela, even MLK when he got too radical. You know, that's wickedness, y'all. It's a culture that worships its own lies. Right? Let's go to flipping the script. Where do we go from here, family? You know, so what's the takeaway? What's the takeaway? The fear of black people is not normal. It's manufactured. Racism is not just prejudice. It's a system. And white supremacy, it's a house of cards that's built to crumble whenever you shine a light on it. That's why we do this work over here at the Grassroots, y'all. I mean, we're not just exposing the game, we're rewriting the rules to make sure that the narrative about our people is correct. To my black family, keep shining, keep rising, keep being unapologetically you. Their fear of us is proof of our power. To my white allies out there, if there's any, unlearn the lies, check your privilege, and do the work. And to everybody, educate yourself. Read The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. Study how to be an anti-racist by Ibram X. Knowledge is the key to unlocking this fear. And if you're still scared of a black man in a hoodie, maybe it's time to get a new therapist. Hey, man, but that's a wrap. The Grassroots fam, man, that's a wrap, man. If this hits home with you, drop a like, share this video with your family, and let's keep the conversation going. And drop some comments down in the comment section below. What's your takeaway? What's your take on this fear? How do we dismantle the system? You know, hit me with any ideas you have. You know, and don't forget to subscribe. Remember, we're building a movement, one truth at a time. Until next time, stay woke, stay strong, and keep it grassroots. Peace, y'all.